They need to close Peace Arch Park on the Washington state side.
You've seen this throughout the pandemic. Canadians crossing to the other side of the border to meet American loved ones. The opposition saying even at this point of the second wave, it's getting worse.
The increase is more on the tent side of things. And I think we've had upwards of 75 tents there last week. And as the weather gets better, as we head into Valentine's Day, those numbers are going to increase. And right now there's very limited enforcement. There's confusion regarding jurisdiction. So at a time when the Premier is asking British Columbians to do more, I'm asking him to do a little bit more, and that's to pick up the phone and try and get this issue solved.
The Premier says these are federal issues, and Provincial Health Officer Dr. Bonnie Henry hasn't flagged this area as a problem.
My sense is that we want to encourage people to have good behavior. And if the people who are coming to from the south to the U.S. side of Peace Arch, and they're meeting with their loved ones for brief visits, I'm reluctant to get in the way of that. If it is a bigger problem than I'm expecting, then I'm sure Dr. Henry will advise and we'll take action.
But the province did close the Canadian side of the park last year, but still, people keep crossing the ditch at Zero Avenue, popping into tents set up on the grass.
The American side remains open, and the American side is actually quite small in space. So what we're asking the Premier to do is to work with Governor Jay Inslee and get the American side of Peace Arch Park closed so we can stop people from congregating in tents, which we're seeing at quite a dramatic fashion right now.
People living nearby are fed up.
We have almost 100 tents parking in this park, and none of them have to quarantine when they cross back over into Canada. And yet if you go just 100 yards down there and you go to the Border Patrol and you go back to Canada, you have to quarantine for 14 days. Yet we have 5 police cars down this Zero Avenue, and they should be given the power to tell these people to quarantine for 14 days.
RCMP patrolling the area say they do remind people of the rules and travel restrictions, but locals say that's not enough.
What's needed is pretty simple. If anyone is entering into Canada, they need to go to customs, just like any other place in Canada. There's no exception here. When border restrictions are in place, you need to go through customs. You can't just use the park. It's crazy what's going on. It's a carnival, and yet government officials simply need to take action in order to solve the problem. They've all turned their back on this.
For City News from Victoria, I'm News 1130's Liza Yuzda.